If you're an occupational therapist and you want to get into hand therapy, but you feel like school never really taught you anything, well, I'm here to help you. My name is Huang. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist, and I was in the same boat as you when I came out of school.
If you've been searching for the perfect in-person course to elevate your manual therapy skills, this is it. Whether you're an OT or PT, the 2-day manual therapy course is designed to help you master treatments for hand and arm injuries like never before. In just 2 days, Huang will walk you through exactly what it takes to treat any upper extremity injury from the hand to the shoulder. You'll not only learn powerful manual techniques, but also develop a next-level confidence in your approach. You'll leave knowing how to deliver exceptional results for your patients, all while protecting yourself from injury. The next day is on August 29th to 30th in Albany, New York. For more information on joining, click the link in our description.
School went over the basics when it came to hand therapy. I went to the University of Florida for my graduate degree, so that's where I got my occupational therapy license. And back in the day when I graduated, that was one of the top schools, and I believe it was in the top 10. If I'm correct. And we barely touched on hand therapy. The only hand therapy thing that we really touched on was splinting. And then during like one of the FISDIS classes, we had someone from burns come in and do some lectures on burns. And then I did an internship in hands and in burns. And so if you are interested in hands, but you didn't get the schooling and you didn't have the internship, there's still a way to get into hands. And I want to encourage every occupational therapist that even if you're not in hands, if you work with anyone with 2 hands and 2 arms, you're working with someone's hands and arm problems, right? I worked in skilled nursing, I worked in acute care. I mean, I still see at my clinic here patients with strokes, and they have so many different hand and upper extremity types of injuries. I have a student actually right now inside the mentorship program, and this is really odd. She is working in an outpatient setting, but she had a patient come to her after a cardiac cath that they did radially, and now both like the arms just like on fire, just like this whole mess. She had never seen it. I had never seen it, but you never know what kind of patients are going to come into your clinic or what's going to come onto your caseload. And so I think that it's very beneficial to you as an occupational therapist to learn about hand and arm issues. And so now school is never going to teach you this. They're going to teach you like the basic stuff. You get your degree, and your degree is a ticket into then now learning into whatever area that you're interested in. I have people who are in peds who want to get into hands. I have people in peds who work in hands, but they're just more ped centric, right? I have a lot of OTs that actually come to me because they work in rural areas. And if you're in a rural area, then you have to be good at a lot of little things, right? You got to work with the little kids, you got to work with the adults, and you got to work with geriatrics, and you'll see anything and everything. So everything about what you do post-degree is so that you can get better as a therapist to help the kind of patients that are coming to you, right? So forget what school taught you, because it really didn't teach you shit, and let's chunk it out. So one of the ways that I like to teach people who are really new to hand therapy, or even if they just want to understand it better, I like to chunk it down into buckets and make it easier. So if you're new to hand therapy, I often talk about my fast track framework. It's in my book. It's inside a lot of my, like pretty much all my programs. If you have attended any of my master classes, I did this fast track master class, and I went into detail on this framework. My fast track framework chunks everything up into these buckets. Just about every injury falls into these categories because it's going by the nature of the tissue of your injury. You have bones, muscles and tendons, ligaments, nerves, and skin and fascial problems, right? I'll probably host another fast track masterclass, so just click the links below. You'll get onto my website, and I run different like free stuff all the time. If you get on my email list, you'll hear more about when I'm doing like the next one and the next one and stuff like that. If you don't want to be on my email list, you can hit like, subscribe, do all the things, and then just get notified if I put anything in terms of videos out. But my fast track framework goes into bones, muscles and tendons, ligaments, nerves, skin and fascia. And one of the reasons why I developed this framework, if you can think about like a framework or strategy is like your overarching formula. It's like the umbrella that kind of holds everything. And then little things like formulas gives you your step by step, like those guidelines, right? But one of the easiest things if you want to start in hand therapy is kind of chunk things out. The easier things are like fractures, right? Bones give you structure. Two bones together create a joint. That's every part of the body. So one of the reasons why I love this framework when I created it was that it was helping my therapists learn about hand therapy faster, and I could make hand therapy less intimidating for them, so they didn't think that they had to learn and memorize every little thing just to be able to treat somebody. So you can kind of chunk things up into like fractures fall under bones, right? It's not that it's not going to affect the ligaments, because the ligaments give stability to bones and it holds bone and bone together. So if you're like your joint is not moving well, then of course your ligaments might get really tight, right? And it's not to say that your muscles and tendons won't be affected. Of course, if your bones don't move and your ligaments get really tight, then your muscles and tendons don't get long and don't get short. And so they don't move as well as they normally do. They can get stuck, they can be out of balance. There's like a lot of the nuance, but if we're just trying to simplify this, think about that fast track. The reason why it's called a fast track is it's going to help you think really fast so that you don't like sort of get overwhelmed or freaked out. So if you're new to hand therapy, like school never taught us how to do that. They taught us how to memorize. They taught us, like, I remember just a lot of like neuro classes, perceptual classes, PEDS classes. There's never anything like real on hands, going into nuances and the intricacies of the hands. But that's why you get to learn this now once you're out of school, because school cannot provide everything for you. So one of the easiest things to do is to chunk it out, right? So think about fractures. Think about fractures of the hand. Think about fractures of the fingers. Think about the fractures of the wrist. Think about the fractures of the elbow. There can be fractures of the arm. You have a humeral shaft fracture. You can have humeral head fracture. Those aren't as common. Distal radius fractures are really common, and finger fractures are really common. So if you're trying to learn more about hands and you're trying to get that job in hands, like learn about fractures, because majority of the time people with fractures are going to go and need therapy. So if you think about fractures, I think the easiest thing to think about is distal radius. They're very common, and a lot of times distal radiuses, the word is displacement, right? The word is displacement. So if you have a fracture and you have displacement, that means it moved apart. It can move apart in terms of a certain amount of space. It can move apart and be rotated, right? It can be moved apart and like shifted. So you can have fractures that are displaced, meaning like they are shifted apart. You can have fractures that are, and the key word here is comminuted. Listen, I couldn't say that word before. I had to like search how to say that word, comminuted. It's a comminuted fracture, means that it's broken into multiple pieces. So one of the things that makes it easier for me and the way I teach people, it's like you have to translate the words. And so I was born in Vietnam, and so Vietnamese is my first language. English is my second language, and Spanish is my third language. Though I say I don't speak any of them very well. And the way I learned my language was I had to do a lot of translating. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. But when I look at some of these words, I immediately translate them into like, how can I translate this into an easier word? Displacement, separation, comminuted, multiple pieces, bone or fractures and things like that, lack of stability. If you can find ways that make it easier for you, then you'll find that hand therapy can be much easier and not like as intimidating, right? So it can feel like it's possible for you to be able to treat, to be able to apply for that job in hand therapy. Like, I'm always looking for therapists for my clinic. I'm located in Miami, and I hire therapists who, I'm always looking for someone with some experience, right? I have in the past hired new grads or someone with new experience, and there's people around the world, around the United States, around the world, that have positions for therapists The thing is, they want to hire somebody that has some skills, right? So as an occupational therapist, you have your license, but are you skilled to do something? So I want to encourage you to apply for those jobs and then find out what they're looking for. Then you can go out and you can start to learn, or you can start to learn and then feel confident when you come into that role and say, okay, I know how to work with these, types of injuries. When you chunk it out, you'll be able to learn better, study better, and then most importantly, be able to apply what you've learned. So for example, let's talk about this fracture. If we have a displaced fracture, if we have a comminuted fracture, then those bones no longer give us structure, right? So we have to provide structure so that we can move. So when you have no structure, you need surgery to then provide that structure, right? So that's why people who have a distal radius fracture tend to have a ORIF, open reduction. So they open you up, they reduce the bones, they put the bones back together, internal fixation, plates, screws, lock it in, right? So now the plates and the screws, they give you stability. So the plates and screws give that bone that's broken stability. Once you have stability, you're technically allowed to start moving. Now, because they cut things, usually they like to be in a post-op bandage for 5 to 7 days, and then they're removed, and some doctors allow therapy right away. I used to work with a hand surgeon who I took down their post-op dressing, would clean their incision, put a splint on. We would actively start to move the fingers, right? So I always tell my patients, and you can tell your patients, listen, when your wrist is broken, your fingers are not broken. They hurt or they feel they're stuck because those tendons pass by the wrist. So when you curl your fingers down, those tendons have to pull through where it was broken. And so that's why it feels painful, or that's why it tends to get stuck, but not because there's anything wrong with your fingers. And you have to, as the occupational therapist, as the hand therapist, as the physical therapist working in hands, like you have to be able to explain certain things to your patients so they know what to do, they know what to expect. So the wrist is broken, but the hand is not broken. It just feels like terrible, especially the thumb. Do you know why? Because the thumb tendon, this is your thumb tendon, comes and crosses that wrist too. So when you can't move the wrist, the thumb feels really tight too, and that's normal. All that is normal. So technically speaking, you're allowed to start moving a little bit. So this is wrist flexion, this is wrist extension, and you can do it without the fingers. When you do it with the fingers, it's a lot more aggressive. You can go radial and ulnar deviation. This is actually dart throwers motion, so it's a little bit more complicated, but you can go ulnar radial deviation. I tend to like to do dart throwers, which is a little bit more nuanced. And then the wrist allows you to supinate and pronate. So once you start learning about fractures and kind of like what is allowed and what not allowed, you can apply your knowledge, right? So I was interviewing a new grad, and this was the same problem. She didn't get any training in school. She had an internship, but now it had been months and she was working in a completely different setting. And what she was trying to do is she was trying to learn hand and upper extremity therapy. And what I want to encourage you to do, because no one's teaching you this in school, and then sometimes the programs that you're buying into, they're not teaching you this either. You have to apply the knowledge that you're learning. So if you're learning about fractures and you're learning about muscles, or you're learning about this disease, like this diagnosis, right? It can be a disease process, it can be a diagnosis. We have now a distal radius fracture. I'm going to just continue to use this example. The information that I just provided, the comminuted, the surgery, all that stuff, now we have to apply the information that you know into what you would do from a treatment perspective. And so if you have someone new, and I'm going to simplify this, of course there are nuances, but just about everything falls into patterns. And look for patterns because they will make your life so much easier. So fractures all bones heal in a certain way. Between 4 and 6 weeks, they have a clinical healing. Normal, right? I'm talking about normal. Don't throw like, oh, but what about this? What about that? No. Normal bone healing, you have clinical healing between 4 and 6 weeks. So in the first 4 weeks, you're allowed to do active range of motion, fingers, thumb, active range of motion, the wrist, supination and pronation. And then once you have clinical healing of 4 to 6 weeks, you can start to do passive range of motion, right? So then there's a lot of ways to learn active. There's a lot of different ways to do passive. And then after that, around 8 weeks, you're allowed to start strengthening, right? Because now we have better healing. And around 12 weeks, you're allowed to do weight bearing. What do I mean by weight bearing? I mean being able to push off of the wrist, being able to push off, right? So full body weight, full impact. You can do push-ups, you can do planks on your wrist, right? At 3 months, you're allowed to do that. Those are the technical things. So I want you to chunk things down, because I want you, as someone who's new in hand therapy, I want you to be able to go get that job. I want to be able to go, even though you haven't seen every single thing, right? You're not supposed to. Even if you've not really treated a distal radius fracture on a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, maybe you worked on a distal radius fracture for someone in their 70s or 80s. I know I worked with distal radius fractures in a skilled nursing facility, in acute care, but I never worked in an outpatient position because I couldn't get that job, right? I couldn't get that job for like 5 years. But that doesn't mean that I didn't have the experience. I just worked in a different age range, and I didn't work with all the nuances. But if you learn the simple, you're going to be able to apply more complexity. So chunk it out, fractures. I wrote some other examples, tendonitis, dislocations, so you can chunk it out too. But I'm glad that I was able to go into more detailed examples for this. And if you want, maybe I'll do another video on a different example of tendonitis and of dislocations. But once you learn one thing, then you can apply multiple things to it. Like, let's say you have a fracture and a dislocation together, so much more complicated, right? So you have to kind of understand the nuance and then how to treat it. But they're not teaching you this in school. And I don't want you to think, as the occupational therapist working towards getting into hands or working in hands, I don't want you to feel like you have to know everything in order to be really good. We all start from not knowing something and being internally motivated to learn and be better so that we can help our patients, right? When we help our patients, that's what allows us to build our career. Let me know if this was helpful. Like, subscribe, do all the things. But if you want to learn when I'm doing my next master classes, the links are below. They're on, we're putting stuff on our website, but you're going to learn real fast if you join my email list. Just get on it, register for it, and I'll share more with you. All right. Thanks for watching.